Hello, this is Gypsy Hermitage Tarot. Welcome to my channel. When it comes to connecting on Facebook or donating to my channel, the details are in the description box below. I know it's been a while. I'm still in graduate school. I've been busy, with raising children and the ups and downs of that, with taking care of a home, with planning our futures, just everything. Okay, there's a lot. So I wanted to come on. Did I say I wanted? I wanted to come on briefly today to talk to you guys about how you know when someone is not the one and how you know when you are not the one for someone. Okay? And I know I've done a couple of videos in the past about the false twin and things like that. I really want to make this real. I want this message to resonate in a real life sense. And I mean, there is spiritual context to it, but we can't be floating in the clouds. We can't just be in la la land saying, oh, look at him or look at her, or fantasy land, and when something doesn't work out with one, the very next one that shows up, spitting game is the one. And I think I've said this before, you have to remember, okay, it's just like with Red Riding Hood, right? But it's more so like it says in the Bible about the wheat and the tare. We're definitely in days that are biblical days. We are in days, we're all walking through scripture right now. Regardless of what part we're playing, we're walking through God's word right now. There's so much, it's so intense. There's so much madness, there's so much beauty, right? There's so much of people trying to choose the right thing to do. It's a very intense time. And I'm saying that because most, if not all, divine feminines and divine masculines experience the tear. They experience what everybody loves to call the karmic, but they experience that love that didn't work out, and that person in a relationship that it was not reciprocal, it was not healthy. Right? It was toxic. It did not serve you. You took too many people in as a result, trying to appease family members. And it was too much. It just wasn't right. Nothing flowed. Nothing. So I know I talk a lot about Steve Harvey's relationship with his wife, Marjorie. But sometimes I don't agree with Steve with the advice he gives to others, because a lot of the times, from the audience point of view, we can look at, because of Steve Harvey's teachings and books and advice, we can hear someone speak now, most of us, and say, no, that's not it, especially for women. You know what I mean? I don't like it when someone who has found the love of their life is advising someone else, well, this could be the one. You just got to work with him because he's been hurt. And no, that's not what happened with you and Marjorie. You know what I mean? That's not what happened with you and your love, the love of your life. You don't see, it doesn't come in a way where, oh, if only I have been patient with this person. No. When a man shows up and he sees what he wants, there is nothing he will not do to secure that relationship with that specific person. I've seen it over and over and over and over. And if he hasn't done that with you, it's because you are not the one. Period. Facts. What else can I say? I'm just saying. And some of us are spoiled. And some of us are naturally stalkerish, and some of us have addictive tendencies, and some of us are heavily codependent. You know what I mean? And so it's not a mystery. There's no misunderstanding as to why. You can't let go of a specific person who doesn't honor you, who hasn't chosen you, that you are one of his many mistresses and he's still staying married to the person he's married to, or he's a hoe and he sleeps with so many, and you would just be one of those so many, and the way he talks about them is the way you remember him saying shit like that to you. That's how you know your place. That's how you know your place. And if you ever doubt, right? If you ever start getting weak, go back and check him out on social media, because he hasn't changed. If he hasn't changed, and not even that he hasn't changed, I cut him off or I walked away. And the things that tarot advises you to do is a little bit of a manipulation. Really, it's a lot of a manipulation. And I just saw a young lady talking about that, about how if you get someone based on manipulating them by walking away, and it makes them long for you and they don't even understand why, trust and believe that a day is going to come when the real one comes into his life and that spark is there and it wakes him up immediately. He will leave you and all that he's built with you if you got him on a manipulation. That's not what it is. True love is not a manipulation. It's not. You can use all kinds of tactics. You can. But I'm telling you, it's just so much, man. It's so much. It's so much that it takes a lot of strength on the side of women. It takes a lot of resolve and a refusal to settle. It does. If someone has shown you multiple red flags that would not be good for your life, but he comes back and says, I can't forget you or whatever, and you take him on, you're about to experience those red flags. Stop being so lonely or thirsty or whatever that you're taking back toxic connections that really have to do with your trauma bonds, right? People that have the same childhood traumas as you. And so there's a bond there. You feel this connection so strongly. Anyway, let me just go down my list. True love has a spark from the beginning. How do I know, right? You might say, but Gypsy, have you met that person? I don't think so. And there's only one person. Well, I can't even say it, because even with that, I think I've met a few soulmates, definitely. People that were really into me or that I was really into. And even when we were in each other's presence, there was a man when I was in my late 30s or mid 30s, and we had I could feel the connection. It was so strong. It even affected me in my solar plexus. It was like my solar plexus opened up and I could feel his energy hit me right there, right? But he couldn't acknowledge it. It was almost like he didn't notice. And I prayed for him. I prayed that would be my person. I didn't know nothing about twin flame or soulmates or whatever. I just knew I wanted him. But and from that moment, for years, every time I even considered getting into a relationship with someone, I would have a dream about him. And it was always very short. It was always in between sleeping and wakening, and it would just be like a rushing in, a big whoosh, right? But in the dreams, it never changed what he gave. So we would always be like in a moment embracing each other, and then he would leave me to go run after. And this was not a hoe. This was not a hoe. He was just as sober-minded as I was. But I think he liked the attention from other women because he came from a famous family, even though he was like a nerd type. Do you know what I mean? That kind of attention he liked. And so in all the dreams, it was like that. It was like he knew he would sit with me, and we felt like we were just sitting in like a love bubble, and then he would always leave me to go get attention from other women. And I would be brokenhearted, like, why am I here? Why do I, And then eventually I went through the worst relationship in my life and had to focus on my children and myself, and I began building up myself for a work I wanted to do that I believe I've been destined for, and I haven't had a dream about him since. So, and I still haven't, even as I'm mentioning him, but I'm only mentioning that because of the level of the spirit that I felt, but it wasn't reciprocal. He was not as affected. The thing about the divine feminine that we need to be, for those of us that really are divine feminine, that we need to be aware of is the power of our souls, the power of our ability to feel other people's energy. It doesn't mean that's your love because you feel their energy so strongly. It just means sometimes you've met someone who has very little negative karma. And he did. He had very little negative. He was so innocent as an adult. We were close in age. But he had such an innocence, I think. That's why I felt him so easily. That's why he affected me in a way that even came into my dream state. So you have to really understand connections, whereas just like my friend that I realized was a false twin or karmic bond, because he does remind me a lot of my father. Our connection was mostly sexual. Like it was. Every dream I ever had about him was a heartbreaking dream about him cheating or him fucking everybody. That type of thing. It was never anything pure. It never was. It never was. It did show me that we were going to have an affair and that it was going to be beautiful, even spiritually. But I never saw anything on a spiritual level, like in a dream about him and I, that topped, right? The connection or the way I was affected by the man who was more innocent. I did not. If anything, all he made me do was he made my stomach hurt. Like he literally affected my health in a bad way. Even as every time I would talk to him, I would be able to fast, right? He would spin me because he's a creative person. So our energies, when it comes to the things we have in common, he reminds me of my father. I never got along with my father though. So didn't trust him for shit, right? But when it comes to our creativity and the fact that we're both supportive of each other creatively, the fact that we encourage each other creatively, I'm always inspired to create after I speak to him. And that's just a spiritual, you know what I mean? That's just connecting with like-minded souls. The soul is a great force within our shells. So we can't attribute every connection. It's just like saying every female that you ever meet, they're supposed to be a part of your soul tribe, and now every time you see them, you got to convince them we should talk more often. No, I live in a very racist town, and I've met 2 white women, one of which who came up to me, and I don't talk to most people. I don't. But very much to myself because of the energy. And but they both came up to me, one much more innocent and sweethearted, oh my God, than the other. But I think they were trying to be kind because they know I'm a loner. They know my focus is my children and whatever I got going on in the house, because I don't go nowhere, but that I'm very responsible and I'm very sober-minded. And so I think they respect that, But I didn't think we were supposed to be lifelong buddies. You know what I mean? And it's not. So yeah, I'm not thirsty for attention. Like I'm not thirsty for relationship or people coming into my life. I'm just not even for my family. And I take breaks from my family because what I find, and this is why I want us to realize the issues that we have and what we're dealing with. I come from a family where I have always been neglected and taken for granted, and I've given everything. I always do. No, I don't do that no more. Matter of fact, no. And my two favorite sisters, I have 5 sisters. My 2 favorite sisters, I told them I'm going to be focusing on myself and my goals in my life for a while, and I'll talk to them, when I'm done having some time just to myself, but I didn't want to hurt them. You know what I mean? So I've just grown so much since I left my hometown in 2011. I've grown so much just within myself, and that's the example I'm trying to give to my children. So I'm saying that because you should not settle no matter whom or what. I put the journal, my finished journal and the journal covers here only for beauty. Just to put us in a little cocooned area of beauty while I talk about, sometimes coming face to face with realizations that we've wasted sometimes years on the wrong person. Okay? You deserve love. Like, you deserve so much. Don't grieve. Don't grieve just for this lifetime. Even if you don't believe in reincarnation and you believe this is the only lifetime you're going to get, you can love the people that are safe to love, right? And then love yourself. I continue, especially with teenagers in the house, right? I continue to learn the lesson that I'm here to learn this lifetime, because I have already told God I don't want to do this again, but I want to do this as long as I can in this lifetime, and we'll see how well I do. But, I want to love me the best I can. I want to love me the best I can, where I don't let anybody humiliate me, try to get me to settle with my approval. Never that. And I don't even have to get up in arms or get angry and mean about it. Just a simple, oh no, I'm not doing that. That's the place I got with my friend, with my former friend. Because to me, how can we be friends and you just treated me like you would treat any random? And we've known each other for more than 20 years. Who does that? I've never treated anybody like that, ever, never, ever. And I've lost most of my friends that I had known for many years in religion. Okay? So we got to be stronger, man. You can't be so codependent that you're just like a dog running after squirrels. And I've said that before, like squirrel, squirrel, squirrel. Most players are going to be like that. Yes, they show up. They show up immediately. Oh, you available now, huh? Okay, yeah, I'll waste your time for a while. And most of them have been dealing with divine feminine. They know all the jargon. They know everything about twin flame. They'll even be like, oh yeah, let's, lay down in the dirt and have sex, because that's grounding. And they got some relative that reads tarot or is a high priestess of somebody. Meanwhile, you letting yourself get played in the name of these buzzwords and this is the way you do a thing type of thing. That's why I don't fuck around with ritualistic things. Now everybody got to make a potion and chant over it and do these. Nope. Life is enough of a spell. Just the natural flow of life is enough of a spell for me to smack right into if I'm destined to deal with somebody. For me to run right into them, for them to run right into me, and to know that's who I want right there. I'm just saying. It's happened to too many people for it not to be real. But what if your destiny is not even to meet a person? Does that mean you don't have a vision for your life? Does it? Do you know there are women that live their lives free and they date when they feel like dating and they don't date when they don't want to? And they live longer. Did you know that? Because if you're not with someone who brings your energy up, and I'm talking about, I know a man, right, who was in a relationship that was toxic and it brought him down. And now he's in a marriage that's fulfilling and true love and reciprocal, where he receives so much more than his previous relationship that it's made him even lucky. It's brought his energy up. See? If someone keeps you in heartbreak, stop playing with yourself. You are a part of a cycle, and you are a whole, an available vagina, whether it's a male or a female. Period. Okay? There's only one woman that each man that is looking for, the one who is for him, even if he's not conscious of it, even if he's just a dude who's going about his life living, when he meets that one, his light turns on. And then they start having the most beautiful of experiences and friendship and all kinds of things that are positive and good. And then he tries the shenanigans again, and she's just like, I know I'm gonna go, I know I'll meet somebody. It doesn't, if it's not you, I'll meet someone, but what we have is beautiful, but I'm not gonna stay around for this, just so you know. Not in a judgmental way. Just in oh no, that's not what I'm about. You know what I mean? Just in love. That's not what I'm about. So, and then he will be the one to say, no. Okay. Right? You're it. Let me toss all this shit. This is some bullshit. Let me, do what I need to do. And then guess what? Prosperity for the both of you happens. Miraculously. Like Steve Harvey and Marjorie basically raised his family, his children, finished raising them because they did have mothers, in a way that they all flourish. Like they became a family, a mixed family. And it served especially the younger ones, but even the older ones too. And they all had to go through their growing pains. But they're a real family though. It's like he was what she needed. She was exactly what he needed. She opened his eyes to so much more when it came to traveling. He was saying how he only went to Vegas with his boys. That was a vacation for him. And he was miserable. It was redundant. She showed him more vast array, other places to travel, other experiences to have. He said this not recently, but when he still the end part of when he had his show, he was like, what keeps him motivated to keep his body right is because his wife stays in shape and stays fashionable. So people call him best dressed or saying that he's so fly or whatever. That's Marjorie. Do you hear me? If you're not experiencing these things, if your life is heartbreak and loneliness and feeling rejected, and you came to get the energy you've been having to pull to start businesses and do things, but you can't get the energy up to do anything new, leave that shit alone. He's not for you. He's wasting your time and you're wasting your life. Period. And I'm not saying if he's married and you're the only mistress, he just, no, I don't want you to leave. No. It will be stronger than that. Like I said, even if he settles for somebody who manipulated him into getting married, that manipulation is not strong enough to trump true love. It's not. That would just go by the wayside so easily. Like, not easily, but I'm saying it would be clear. It would just be clear which one he really wants. And he would make that change. True love is not a random. It's like, I remember with my ex-friend that one of the last things he told me was that he liked me because I was loyal. So a lot of times with players, and players to me are not divine masculines, or if they're female players, they're not divine feminines. You don't have the care that a divine person would have with other humanity. Especially not the worst of players. You know what I mean? Like if you leaving a trail of broken hearts and you meet your feminine and y'all mocking who thought that they were yours. Well, didn't you make her feel that she was that? Don't mock that. That's karma you got. Your divine feminine, we should never mock that. Because we've been heartbroken. We've been had game run on us for the wrong person. But we were all in with our whole heart. I hope at this point we're not still talking about someone in a negative light who really sincerely loved and is now hurt. I didn't do that. I didn't do that when I was talking to this dude. I didn't. Anytime he tried to throw another woman up there that we would know of, that would be shocked to know that we were talking or whatever, I'm like, don't do that to her. See? Some of us are so man hungry that most of our lives, we have spent our lives trying to have a man. That's all you are? You're nothing if you don't have a man? Okay. So, yeah, it's not random. You would not be disposable to him. You would not be someone that, she's so easy for me to be with. She's like a comfortable blanket. She just lets me do anything. I can come and go as I please. Cool. That's not divine, which is why he's probably not a divine masculine anyways. But even a dude that has some greatness in this world will settle for somebody like that. Because all he's looking at is that, well, she would never, curse me out. Okay. If that's what you want. Let me tell you something. I love who I am, and not because I expect to have a man that just takes all my shit. When I think about television couples that I love and admire, I stay watching the original Roseanne show. I love Roseanne and Dan. I love it. They're real. They genuinely love each other. They love their children, even though they spoil them a little too much and take their shit too much. But I still love them. They work together. They work hard at providing. They go through their ups, and it's so real. There's this British series called Lark Rise to Candleford. It's about, I think it's set in Victorian times. So there's a poor hamlet against a working class, merchant class town. And just the comparison between the two. And the couple I love the most are the Timmons. It's Emma and Robert Timmons. I love him. I make a study of these characters, male characters, that are husband material, that are father material, like real husband and real father. I had two uncles that were like that. One on my mother's side and one on my father's side. And they were so similar in that they were so patient. They were the kind of men that was just so kind. They were both also handsome, but they weren't pretty boys. Like, they weren't vain. Like, they weren't always trying to be at the height of fashion. Like, they weren't always trying to get attention. They were not that kind. I got to be the center of attention. They were not. They did not have big egos. They did not. They loved being fathers. They were great grandfathers. They were great husbands. I'm just saying. Sometimes we overlook nice guys because we get caught up in the flash in the pan that is the shiny player that's coming into the into the environment where we happy to be. They know how to shine and sparkle. That is their business. It's a part of their game. That everything is going to be clean and beautiful and neat and groomed. And that's a male and female. That's like the equivalent of an Instagram model or someone that has a For You page. They make sure, right, that they stay put together because they want what? Your money. And the same with the male players. They want your money and your sex. It's nothing deeper than that. It's not. There's a woman who had an Instagram account that she was promoting as she was working basically, and she left her 2 children. I think the oldest was something like 7 years old and the baby was 3. The oldest might have been 10. And the baby was only 3. And she just left dry beans and water in the house. Didn't, you know what I mean? Did not see her babies for 2 months. And her nobody questioned it. The only way they even got saved is because the older child had a father who was still in his or her life. And the mother had threatened that if you tell anybody, they'll take you all away and you won't be with your baby brother. And so the oldest child was afraid of losing their sibling until he or she couldn't take it anymore and had been calling her father saying, please send me something to eat. Mommy's working late. And so he was saying he didn't even live in the same city, but what happened when it came to a head was, what happened? I want to say somehow the mother showed up where her family was, and because she left the state, like she wasn't even in the same city as her babies, and they were like, well, where are the children? So her family called the father, right, the oldest child's father, and he took a plane immediately from California and saw the children and saved them from that situation. But I'm just telling you, this world is mad. There are things happening in this world that you are walking right through scripture right now. Mothers abandoning their children is one of the things it said we would see in the last days. And that's not just that one woman. For years we've had stories about women who have drowned their children in the car, in a lake or something, because the man they were with didn't want children, didn't want to have to take care of children. I mean, there have been mothers, I've seen stories over the last few years of mothers just outright killing their children, and whether they're mentally ill or not. This didn't just happen all the time when I was growing up. It did not. So I'm just saying, your grounding does not have to be in a big dirt hole in your yard or in the desert or in the woods and shit. Your grounding is in stabilizing your mind. Stop being so needy of affection. Go to counseling. Find out why you feel like you have to have a man all the time. Solve your problems. That's how I teach my children. Don't worry about who you have right now. Don't worry about who you have while you're in, the beginning of your educational journey. Heal yourself. Make yourself the most healthy you can. Have adventures. Travel while you're in college. Study abroad. And do everything in a safe way. But take care of yourself. Live in the coziest little rabbit hutch that you could create for yourself and have peace. Learn how to protect yourself. Learn what signs are when you feel a certain way, when certain types of people are in your presence. That's because you're not supposed to be around those people. Something's wrong with them. That way, when someone approaches you for a relationship, check out your feelings. Don't blush so quickly for a compliment. Actually get real still and just watch the person. Don't you know psychopaths can say all kinds of stuff, but look at their eyes. Players will be looking at 10 different women in the same environment as they are complimenting you. And they're not even looking at you. Their mouth just running. Pay attention. Right? So even if, and not all divine masculines are players, no. I would venture to say the true divine masculines are those overlooked nice guys that a lot of the times they get stuck with crazy women, because crazy women have a knack for being savvy and seeing people for what they are, because they're manipulators, right? And so they know how to look at someone and say, I know this person will be safe to will be safe for me to get involved with. I could still be, this is what I'm saying, manipulators say, I could be in charge of everything. They would not leave me too quickly because they're needy themselves. Well, it's not that they're needy. Certain men are born for family life. And unfortunately, when it comes to good people, the men and the women, we can tend to waste our time on people that aren't worthy. And so it's now it's time for good men and good women to find each other, to let go of the toxic relationships, to let go of the abusive relationships, to let go of the promiscuous partners and players and people that just break our hearts and treat us bad because they can see us better than we can appreciate ourselves. See yourself for who you are. I'm a hermit. You know why? Because it's so crazy out there. I don't want no parts of it. I have more peace in here, in my little, burrow that I've created for myself and my children. And until someone shows up, the universe would have to prove to me that I have a soulmate. And if the universe doesn't prove it to me, I know how to have happiness and contentment by myself. Even without family, even without my children. Because they have their own paths and it might not be compatible with me. But I know the path I've created. I know what I'm moving toward. I know what I want. So just, get a little bit real. Grow up. Get some strength. Stop hanging on. Like, I can't even listen to everybody's readings anymore. I don't even do readings for myself. Except once in a while I will. And it gives me a good message that I'm going to meet someone. But I'm not going to harp on that. I have so much on my plate. I would never be able to create a whole new hobby like these beautiful things if I sat around worrying about how come I don't have a man. I don't do that. I don't. Okay? So if you get anything out of this, that was my intention. I hope you do. It's not to try and hurt anybody's feelings. I really only want to set to, what is it called? I'm 56, okay? I really only want to help you free yourself from stuck behavior, from limitation, from not doing the things in life that God keeps pulling you and giving you gentle nudges to do. But because you're stuck on a person, you keep letting somebody mix their sexual energy with you, with words that you feel are the connection between your hearts and souls, when it's just words with some good dick. That's dangerous. All right. Let me know in the comments what you think of this video. Please don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. Peace.